There you
go. Okay, folks, we are live. A very good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I always do that backwards. To this week's edition of Mauls, Balls and All. And you're all very welcome, no matter what part of the world you are joining us from. Joining me this evening is a regular contributor, Matt Boland, and Dara Weston down there. Coming back for more, and we haven't seen him in a while, is the greatest Dublin accent of a person to support Munster. That is Dave Sheedy. How are you, Dave? Are you well in yourself there, buddy?
Good.
All right. And returning from his travels is, I suppose you could call him a regular guest at this stage, is John Peters. John, how the hell are you? Are you well?
Very good. All good. Thanks, Winnie Peter, for having me on.
Good stuff. Not at all, John. We appreciate you being here, as we appreciate you all being here. Anyway, folks, are we all well in ourselves? Are we all good?
Smashing.
Fantastic.
Lovely day outside, lads, I tell you.
As long as we don't have to talk about the weekend's rugby, it's grand.
Well, unfortunately, that is part of the topic. Right, gentlemen, I will go to a couple of things that popped up on my feed earlier on that they're kind of current. They happened today. Well, the second one was kind of we knew about, but it was confirmed today, I think. Dave Sheedy, I'll come to you first. Graham Rowntree named as URC Coach of the Season. Is that not just slightly immature since the competition is still on? Does he deserve it? What do you think?
Immature or premature?
Oh, sorry, premature. Premature.
Look, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, Glasgow and the Bulls, have the final, unfortunately. Like, Rowntree's done a great job, man, to get us to top of the league from where we were. I mean, with all the injuries we had this year, I would say even if they didn't announce it till after the final, I think myself being biased Munster supporter, I think it is deserved because it was a great run they went on to get to the top, So
okay.
Like, there's plenty of other coaches putting up their hand. I mean, Richie Murphy's turned around Ulster like that,
Yeah.
I mean, they beat you guys, they pushed us close at home. So, look, let's keep some accolade in Ireland at this stage, after the weekend. Gladly
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. John Peters, Rowntree deserved of his URC Coach of the Season title?
Probably, as Dave said, for turning around, because let's say coming up to Christmas, all injuries, Munster weren't playing well. Is he the best coach, serving the URC? That's open to debate. I mean, as much as I think Jake White is a very good coach and he has a proven track record. He's a World Cup winner. He's able to extract the best out of his team. He's for a South African, he does tend to show more humility than others do as a coach. So I do rate him highly. But I think Rowntree probably is the best. I think they maybe serve, as maybe a slight nod. I don't know the name, but I think the Benetton coach. I think Benetton have come on leaps and bounds. Okay, they were in a top four, but they were much more competitive this season. I think whoever the coaching staff at Benetton need to take a lot of credit as well for that.
Yeah, I would agree. And I was as you were talking there, I thought you were going to talk for another few seconds so I could go to the phone and look up the name of the coach because his name escapes me like yourself, John. But anyway, I presume someone might tell us. Dara Weston, Rowntree deserved of Coach of the Season?
I think so. Look, this is pure bliss for the South Africans because if the Bulls win, they can celebrate and complain at the same time that their coach didn't win the coach's championship. So they love it. They feed on. They have to have something to complain about. No, I think it's fair enough announcing it before the final because Coach of the Season is that the Coach of the Season. It's not the Coach of the final. Sometimes you can get to the final. But, you have your full team every week. You have no challenges. Rowntree definitely did it the hard way to get to the semis. So, yeah, I think he deserves it.
All right. Okay. Matt Boland, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, look, as the lads have said, I think he's definitely done well. Considering the injuries that they had, he won an URC last year. Could have done it this year again, back to back. Unluckily, they lost, but you can't deny what he's done with the team. So whether it's premature or not, it doesn't really hide from the fact that he is actually a good coach, and he's actually a very likable person as a coach. I didn't like him as much as a player when he was playing for England all them years ago, but he certainly is a good coach. There's no denying it.
Okay.
But he's a good coaching ticket around him as well. He has got a good team around him, which I think that compared to
the old Italian player
Bortolami was
Marco. That's the fella.
Marco. Yeah, but coming back, I think Roundtree, he does have a good coaching staff around him.
Yeah,
I think that's something that I'm going to hold judgment on. I'm sure we're going to talk about Mr. Collins, so I'll leave that till later on. But for Munster, they do have in Prendergast and Leamy. I mean, it's the irony is how well Leamy is doing now down at Munster when he did sweet fuck all when he was at Leinster. I mean, he didn't really do very much at Leinster, and I defy anybody to say the opposite. I think he's done much better down at Munster. Maybe he's happier in his surroundings, but Prendergast has certainly really done big things for that Munster team for their attacking. Certainly, Roundtree's good, but I think Prendergast is one of the key stalwarts of that Munster team in terms of the coaching staff.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Megan Augusta says hello all. Hi, Megan. How are you? Louis Bibby. You'll never guess where Louis Bibby is from. Franco Smith is probably the best coach in the world. Louis, how are you? Hope all is well where you're watching us from in South Africa. I hope you're doing well, Louis.
He could be from Glasgow.
Oh, yeah. He could be from France. Louis Bibby.
No, I had Louis on the chat at 8. He's definitely a South African gentleman, and he's good. He was actually very good. I enjoyed our chat, Louis.
So they're spying on us already, are they? Okay.
Yeah. Right. On a slightly more serious note, I wanted to run this by you all and just see what your opinion of this is. Matt, I'll go to you first. It's not today's news. It's probably the worst kept secret in rugby over the past week or so. Stuart Hogg has signed a 2-year deal. He's come out of retirement after he supposedly asked to leave his last job. He's going to Montpellier on a 2-year deal. The ex-French scrum half and now director of Montpellier, Mr. Laporte, thinks this is a good signing, thinks it's a good idea. I think the optics, Matt, of this are all wrong, considering what Stuart Hogg is going to be facing in July. The charges, very serious charges, he will be facing. I don't think this is a good look for the game, for Marseille or for Montpellier. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. What do you consider what the IRFU did with the two Ulster lads? But we're not going to go there.
Fucking retired. It's plain and simple. Yeah. And he definitely shouldn't have been entertained by any fucking coach in the modern era to even think about taking him out of retirement and fucking giving him a contract. I'm full against it. I think he's a filth bag, if I'm actually being honest. I have a lot of other stronger words. He is a cunt as well, but for what he did off the field, that other players had serious repercussions for things they did off the field. Why is he any different? He seemed to have retired for a couple of seasons and then it's all forgotten about. A lot of bollocks. I think he should have stayed retired and he shouldn't have been entertained by any coach to take on a team in a contract.
All right. Okay, a point well made. Dave Sheedy, your thoughts on the Hogg affair?
Yeah, well, I just found out most of this from ye, because I haven't been keeping up to date with it. So you're telling me he actually retired because of what he did?
He was asked to leave.
He has to leave. And on fucking Netflix giving it, oh, my body's broken, and and he going out with his kid and the little finger thing in front of the crowd and all. What a fucking Mayfainer, man. He deserves everything he gets. I lost respect for that guy the minute Nigel Owens pinned him for that dive. You know what I mean? You could always tell he was a spoofer. When Nigel Owen pinned him for that and said, come back here in 2 weeks and play soccer, you just knew. That's not the attitude for rugby, man. You know?
Exactly.
And it's people like that drive me nuts. Zebo has it as well. Like, Matty, do you remember going to Mary's Cork-Con AL final? That's the first time I saw Zebo, and I hated him since then. But he's a bloody good player, but he's not going to do what Hogg did. Like, that's absolutely outrageous, man. In public, and you know the funny thing is, if he was a politician, it'd be swept under the carpet. It's like the truth always comes out with these guys. In the universe is a brilliant thing. And there's something that you'll see now in a year or two. There'll be something with Finn Russell as well, and all these little show off ponies and look at me, I'm so brilliant and blah 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 blah. And they're not half as good as what they think they are.
And they just so happened, Dave, to be two of the Trinity. Well, sorry, there was actually four of the spoofers. I always say. So Hogg.
It's great. It's great when you're correct, isn't it? I mean, poor Peter Burke gets absolutely lambasted for this on the group, day in, day out, and now he's proven correct. Hogg was a spoofer. He was a dickhead, and he always will be a dickhead. Finn Russell's coming next.
Right. So, all we need now for something like that to happen is to Manny Lebach, which I don't know. Anyway. So anyway, John Peters, the optics of this are all wrong.
They are wrong. It's. I mean, sort of. It's. You cannot condone it, and I mean, it obviously looks like France is a place, where they're quite happy to accept it, because we have there's that player, I think he's as Clermont, that he also had a bar brawl. I can't remember the name. He's being sent away to prison. When he comes out, he probably will be embraced back in the fold. It's a problem. It was a problem prevalent in rugby. So certainly down in New Zealand was quite bad. That you had a lot of domestic issues where rugby players. But I think social media wasn't as strong then as it is now, and so it's maximized. So I think New Zealand got their house in order and said, "Listen, their shit is not on." But I think that it's not good, and it sends a bad signal. It sends a bad signal to people sort of playing that someone will say, "Well, it's okay, I play rugby, but if I beat the crap, if I assault my wife, or I do something, if I assault somebody, it's not going to impact my, let's say, it's not going to impact my ability to play rugby and my marketability." I mean, how they can actually sort of stand over it and say we should be taking this guy, because we know what they're like in Scotland, with assault cases. He could actually get a jail sentence out of this if he's found guilty. It's not like we have here where you might get sort of, there might be a fine or maybe suspended sentence. Scotland does, the proctor, whatever, the sheriff, whatever they call him over in Scotland, he could go to jail for this. So it's just bad all round. And as I say, he is a dirtbag. I mean, he's a very, I mean, I saw him when he was telling about extrovert, and as you say in the Netflix about body cam, cry me a river, sort of thing. Behind the scenes, he was a lout. He was a louse. That's what he was, So good.
Can I just add to Jan's point there? Chris Farrell, who played with Munster, his like, there's another guy, and apparently the rumor is he didn't do much, or I don't know, or it's just it seems like he's a bit more instant, and he's gone. There's no contract for him, and it's only speculation. Whereas they've proof with him, and he's getting a contract.
Yeah. It's a very bad look for rugby in general. If you take the likes of the Chris Farrell thing and the he who will remain nameless from Ulster, it's just a farce how they can just make an exception to somebody like him. It shouldn't be the case at all.
But the point with the Ulster lads is they weren't found guilty and they still lost their jobs.
That's the thing as well. Like,
and that's the thing, trial by social media.
100%. Anyway, gentlemen, we don't want to spend too much on this because it'll just take up too much of our time, and it's really not worth it. But anyway, Dara, I want to get your opinion on this. As I asked the rest of them, the optics are all wrong.
Yeah, it's not a good look for French rugby. But look, as the lad said, they're willing to accept and overlook a lot of things to get players in. As Peter Martin put in the comments, he must be the $1 million man, because basically, to cry off. I'm trying to remember, had the Scotland World Cup squad been announced when he retired? Because he retired like in June, I think it was, just before the World Cup. So basically, I think he was named in the squad, and then he was basically, "Oh no, lads, I can't do it. Body's broken, tired." left all the rest of them kind of a bit short-staffed, and now he's coming back again.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Yeah, just a few comments there, gentlemen, before we move on. Yes, as you said there, Dara, Peter Martin, how are you, Pete? Miss you. Stuart Hogg is the remake of The $1 Million Man. If you know, you know. Okay. Louis Bibby down in South Africa. Sorry, Louis, I forget what part of South Africa you're actually from. I know you told me, but I forget. He agrees about Hogg. Megan Augusta, don't like it at all. Very bad form from Montpellier. Louis again. I wish just love Franco as a coach. He's coached many levels and had success everywhere. Okay, thanks,
Sure.
Louis. Louis again. Sorry, go on, John. Were you? Who's coming in there?
No, nothing. Just sort of interesting the comment. That's all.
Okay, Louis again. Manny Lebach lacks BMT in many aspects. I don't know what BMT means.
Big match.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Great playmaker, but I wouldn't pick him in my team. Louis, he couldn't hit a fucking barn door with a fucking shovel. Would you stop? Jesus Christ, man! Would you want him as your kicker? No, you fucking.
He's the South African Billy Burns, is he?
Oh.
The Ulster lads are going to lose their shit.
Well, he's obviously likes him because he keeps picking Libok. Sure, half the World Cup he was playing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, true actually. Okay. Right. What the points I actually sent you all, what we're going to talk about. Dara, I'll come to you first. We go in this way. The upcoming tour. I've loads of questions about it, but we'll start with: is there any fucking point to it? What is the point of the tour?
Money.
Are we still doing this? Are we still recovering from COVID restrictions? Like, they can't be that fucking short of cash.
No, but I think it's kind of, it's the usual thing. You come down to us, we'll come up to you. So I think, it's if we didn't go down and tour down there, then would South Africa come? They possibly might not play Ireland in autumn internationals next time they're up, which will be next year. Look, it's they're obviously world champions now, so they want to play everyone, and keep winning as world champions. And if they lose, well, it was only a test match, and it doesn't really matter. And it's highly unlikely, because it's only a 2-test series. It's highly unlikely we're going to win both tests. I'd say best result it'll probably be a draw, which the South Africans again will be happy about, because they can gloat about the fact they haven't lost, and they can complain about the fact that they did technically lose one of the matches. It's I think I think it's just money, sponsorship,
Right. Okay.
Jerseys need to be on telly.
This is true, and so do advertising slogans need to be on. Our logos and slogans need to be on telly as well. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, John Peters. Is this what is? I don't. I'll ask you what I asked Dara. What is the point of this tour?
At this stage, you would say there's no point to the tour. You've just had a World Cup. They've had a long season now. I'll kind of spin it around another way. If the provinces had done well, let's say Leinster won the Champions Cup, and Munster go on and win the URC, and we're going down to South Africa, we'd all be chomping at the bit and saying, yeah, this is the best. We've got an Ireland Six Nations champion. We're going for, we're going the 2-test series against South Africa. We're going to sort of go hellful at it to show South Africa we're the best. That's not the case. So it is about money at the end of the day. But I think, in the season, I think what that person said exactly the same way. It has been long enough. I don't see the point of the tour. But again, so it's these guys are professionals. They're, it's like the ones that we're watching at the moment over in Germany. They've all a long season as well, and they've gone straight to playing in the European Championships. Now they're being paid a lot more money. So these are professional athletes, and I guess the way I would look at it, so it's part of their livelihood. We may not like it, but it's the career choice they have, and unfortunately they're bound by it. So it's the professional era where we live in these days.
But then the cynic in me, then, John, or not, maybe not the cynic is the wrong word to use, would say, well, sure, they're getting well paid for it, so why shouldn't they?
Why should they tour? Why shouldn't they tour?
Why shouldn't they tour?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know, I think you know, they should be touring because the pay. I mean, it is all about money, and I think, you know, sort of depends again, sort of, you know, how they put. I mean, like, I have my own thoughts about the tour squad. I'm sure we'll touch on that.
Yeah, we'll talk on that. Yeah.
Talking about that, but I think so. Look, these guys have got to go out. They're going to measure themselves against the best of the best. They're well paid. It's a professional job. It's just, you know, it's the way the season is. If there would have been no World Cup, we wouldn't have this discussion about going on tour. But it's because it's been such a long season that I think that has become more sharply into focus. The only thing I would say was, sort of, why is it not a 3-test series instead of a 2-test series? Yeah, why not? All the other ones are doing 2 tests, 3. That's what you want, just like they did in New Zealand. And in fairness, they all came off the back of a long season as well when they went down to New Zealand. So at that time, so there's money, but I do think they should be touring. I think that there is a merit for them going down to be touring. It's part of their job.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dara. Just a comment there before I come to you. Sorry, go on, Dara. Sorry.
Just on the 2 tests, yeah, I couldn't figure that out as well. And the only thing that sprung to mind is, do they not want a test going up against the Olympics if there's a 3rd test? Possibly. Because the Olympics is going to be on in France as well. So that's the only reason I can think why it might be 2 instead of 3 tests. TV rights and coverage.
Possibly.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Sorry, hold on 1 second, Dave Sheedy, before I come to you. Just a couple of comments coming in here from Brum Sankey. The season has been long enough. Some of these lads have gone through a World Cup, a regular season, and now these games, they'd be worn out. What about player well-being? Yeah, there is certainly merit in your point there, Brum. Louis Bibby, or Louis Bibby, South Africa will not be happy with a drawn series. Remember, I'm a big fan of Irish rugby. You are, Louis, you are. So are a lot of Safas. Well, on social media, don't appear to be. But anyway, I'm probably just tarring you all with the same brush.
Can I just, Peter, just comment on that last one, sort of, about player welfare?
Yeah, go on.
I actually think that, sort of, you know, that the team, the Irish players at the moment, particularly the Leinster ones as well, they've been looked after very well. They've actually been fucking pampered almost too much. They've played too little rugby this season. How many times, you know, they've taken the breaks, you know, don't go down to South Africa for any of that. Don't go up to Ulster. We wrapped them up on Cottonwool for effectively. So since Six Nations, they've played 5 games, 5 big games. Forget about the Ospreys game. La Rochelle, Northampton, Toulouse, and the Bulls. Those are the big games they've played since the Six Nations. You could say Ulster possibly, and you can maybe throw in the Ospreys. So let's say 7. So I think they haven't played as, you know, they have not been as actively playing as, let's say, maybe their counterparts in the Gallagher Premiership or in the top 14, or dare I say it, down in other countries there. So I think that the player welfare, the RFU looks after possibly Irish players too well, and don't play them enough.
Well, certainly the century contracted players, John.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
it's far too easy on them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, Dave. I'll come to you just one second now.
Sorry, Dave.
Sorry.
You're all right, John. You're all right.
No. Everyone has to have their say. Sorry, Louis was saying South Africa will not be happy with a drawn series. Remember, I'm a big fan of Irish rugby, so are a lot of Safas. You don't find them on social media, but we exist. Just love watching the Irish live. Thanks, Louis. Just another one here from Mike Sheedy, a devout Munster fan. You'd be
great surname, sir. Great surname.
There you go. Mike says it's all about the money. For someone is making money into their pockets. Also, player safety is going out the window again. You see, Mike, that's the player safety. As John said, a lot of these players on the squad haven't played as much as you. They're perceived amount of games they played. Joe Lyons, how are you, Joe? I think it's 2, not 3, as that would put AB's noses out of joint as they play them 2 times. And no matter how we look at it, the Box need ABs. I bet this was a factor into maintaining the All Blacks as number 1 for them. Yes, well, very good. Okay. Right, Dave Sheedy. Off you go.
What's the question?
The point of the tour.
The points of the tour. Look, I love autumn internationals, summer internationals. I think it's great. I will never look at rugby from a money perspective. And there'll be people like coming into the group and saying, but this, and all this. You know, like when O'Mahony's contract was up and people were like, oh, yes.
Hold on. So money doesn't come into you supporting rugby?
No, I support.
Yeah, I asked you where you're going to the fucking Munster game there in Thomond, the semi-final.
Yeah,
and you
my
said
money.
The diesel is killing me.
If Munster Rugby want to pay my diesel, I'll go to every. I'll walk down. Yeah, 3 times in 3 weeks, man. No way.
Your point about
it's just everyone talk about money. I don't buy into the money side of things. I mean, these players are well paid, and I'd agree with Jan 100%. Like me and Matty had to go do a day's work, train Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then play a game on Saturday. I mean, put these lads back into a real job and see how they like it. I mean, like, you should be fresh as daisies, man. As Jan said, they're well rested. Well, the centrally contracted lads anyway. And the squad rotations are so big in Leinster and Munster as well, especially with injuries and so on and so forth. Like, they should be going into this fresh as a daisy, man. They really should. Now, whatever about team selection and tactics and this, that, we'll get on to that later. But there's not this idea of a long season. Like, we all work 52 weeks of the year, more or less, bar a couple of weeks holidays here and there, you know? So, like, no. Get on the plane, get down, do a job, and beat those Saffas.
Okay. Our colleague Peter Martin is watching. He's normally on, but he can't make it. The stat man. Andrew Porter has played 1,612 minutes or 250.
20.15
games. Tyke Furlong has played 1,257 minutes or 15 games. He got that from Ultimate Rugby. Thanks, Pete. The stat man. There you go. Matt Boland. Your opinion on the tour to South Africa? Any point to it?
Well, me personally, I do like the summer tours when they go to New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa, and I like the autumn internationals as well because it kind of preps the players. For me, you know, I think it's important to do these, whether we go down or they come up. It is all about the money, unfortunately. When generally there's whatever way we go for a tour wise, it'll be reciprocated in the autumn where you play one of them or twice, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely all about the money. So like I enjoy it because it gives you something to watch. Like when the rugby seasons are all over, and if these summer tours weren't going off, there'd be nothing to watch rugby wise. You'd have to watch some other fucking shite. Do you know what I mean? So at least it's something there. In terms of like the lads were talking about, like the central contactor players, they're not playing enough, so they should be fresh as a daisy. And there is a lot to be said for them playing more regularly. You saw what happened in the World Cup. He kind of picked the same team all the way through, and they when you looked at all the players from all the different teams in the World Cup, the Ireland players had played the most minutes in that World Cup. And at the end, when it came down to the nitty gritty of us trying to get past the quarter final, the lads were too tired, so they didn't rotate the players enough then. So I think they're backwards in the way they're doing things. They're rotating the players too much during the season, and then when it's needed, they're not rotating the players enough. Do you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with that about the World Cup. I wouldn't say that. I don't think about the tired. I think that the World Cup, it came down to, for me, two minutes, 2 moments against New Zealand cost them.
Yeah, well, look,
but I don't think they were tired. I think they because I think the welfare. I wouldn't say I
think they were kind of tired as well, because if you looked at the minutes that they played, they had played maybe a game or a game and a half extra than any other player that they were playing against in New Zealand. Do you know what I mean?
I take the points. I take it.
That's the World Cup with repetitive games, though.
Yeah, but the way I would look at it, though, is again, it comes back to these are professional athletes. What we're going to see now here in the European Championships, you're going to find there in the soccer, depending on how far they go, whether it be England, whether it be Germany, or whoever the big ones there, you will find that the nucleus of that team will be the same starting 11 every match going through the World Cup there, and they've just come off a season. So I hear what you're saying, and I agree to a point, but I don't necessarily buy it that fatigue is a made. It would have been the factor for the teams there for Ireland in the World Cup.
Yeah, but just one more point, lads. Like
maybe not, but they definitely did 4 minutes. Sorry, Dave.
If we didn't have the autumn internationals, summer internationals, all the international team would have is Six Nations and a World Cup every 4 years. Like they need to play together and train together and gel together as well. So these tours are essential, I think, to the building of the national squad. You know,
well, they have to. I mean,
our team play together most weeks in the RDS.
Hey.
They knew that was going, Dave. You must have known that was going.
Gentlemen, they have the tour to South Africa, and then the next time they're together are for the November internationals. Then we got a Lions tour. I'm just talking about the internationals now. I'm not talking about the URC or the Heineken Cup. So, you know, maybe the South African tour is needed, as you said, Dave, or whatever. Maybe there is a point to it. I don't know, but my initial thought was that there was no point to it. What is it?
I think after a World Cup, maybe South Africa was a bad choice. Maybe they could have, Fiji or, promoted maybe the game more in the Pacific Islands or weaker teams, because people have been saying during the week in the group about blood and new players. Like, I'm all for blood and new players. Not this time. I really, really want to win this.
Dave, would you stop robbing my topics for the next?
Sorry, sir.
Jesus Christ! Right, Dave. So you fucking started it, right?
Right.
Let's talk about. I'm coming to you first. Let's talk about the selections, the squad selected. A lot of people weren't happy with some of the players that weren't selected. Some couldn't go. One of the most obvious one who can't travel due to injury is Gibson Park. I'll just park him for a minute. He's pulled a hamstring. The Burns aren't going. John Cooney isn't going. Gavin Coombs isn't going. Jack O'Donoghue isn't going. Shane Daly isn't going, although Stockdale is going, which baffles me. I don't know. Dave Sheedy, I presume you've seen the squad. What do you think of it? Is there any glaring omissions from your end?
Like you put up a post about Shane Daly, and I agreed with you to a certain extent. But I find Daly very sporadic with Munster. He's kind of like the first 10 minutes he just wants to make the big hit, and then if he gets sidestepped, he's found with his pants down. But he makes up for it. I remember him having a really bad game against Cardiff. And I was at it, and I was watching him the whole game because he was right in front of me. But, he should be there ahead of Stockdale and Jimmy O'Brien because, what have they done this season?
Well, I don't know about Jimmy O'Brien, but
Jimmy O'Brien's been injured. He's done nothing.
Yeah, but he's versatile.
Doesn't matter.
When Jimmy O'Brien is fit,
I'd say he's only in there because Keenan's gone to the Olympics. I don't rate him as good as all you Leinster boys do. And this talk of, and I'm going to say
Irish fans as well.
Is it really Irish fans, or is it Leinster media that keep putting it in the independent?
It's not just Leinster fans that rate Jimmy O'Brien.
Look, he's quick. He's quick. He's good under the high ball. His tackling is subject. If you're playing fullback, I'm looking at your defence. That's why I have it in for Mike Haley as well, because I'm looking at your defence. I think Hugo Keane is the best defensive tackler in the world at fullback. I don't think there's anyone better. But this the blood and new players in this Sam, is it because, and I'm saying this to you now, all you Leinster boys, is it because Jack Crowley's there, you're elevating Sam Prendergast now? Because he's proved nothing. He's got all the potential in the world. He looks like he's going to be good, but he's not developed. And everyone's just, put Sam in, put Sam in. He's not even starting for Leinster. And people want him starting in the first test in South Africa. Would you give me a break?
I don't think so. I think that
there's
he
people
won't.
calling for a chance. There's people calling
he won't
for it.
start. He won't
I don't
start.
know. There's people calling for it. This is the mentality I'm talking about.
But they don't understand. They don't understand rugby. Farrell is
exactly.
That's the problem. You know, it's like this gentleman I see on social media. I think he's disappeared. What's it? Jim Demp's his name is or something like that. And he comes on and he always goes on about, so why is the Irish team not the Munster side? Why is he kept going on? He had a boner about Mike Haley in the past. He was going about Will Addison. I mean, Will Addison is a crock. You know, we have to trust what Andy Farrell has done. Andy Farrell. I mean, we're not going to be happy. Yes, Stockdale being picked is a mistake. I don't know why he's there. He shouldn't be there, right?
It's four squads now he's been picked, and he's
okay. But I'm going to throw it out here now, and I know it's probably going to cause controversy here. I wouldn't have taken Peter O'Mahony. Would not have taken Peter O'Mahony.
I tell you, John, or Cian Healy.
He wouldn't have taken either of those because.
Yeah, I agree.
This season, if you can tell me, and I mean, and I say, so you know, we're adults here, sort of thing. For me, Ryan Baird has been a better player than Peter O'Mahony at 6, and Ryan Baird should be starting at 6 for Ireland. Simple as that.
But he might. We don't know.
He may do, but the problem is O'Mahony.
You have to bring the captain, though, Jan. You know, you have to bring the captain. And if anything, I say that there should be a couple of more Munster players there because they won down there. And I think people are talking about Gibson Park. I think Jack Conan is a huge, huge loss to that squad.
Yeah.
A massive loss. And the only one I can think that should replace him would be Jack O'Donoghue.
I was going to ask you about Jack O'Donoghue, Dave. Would you have brought Jack O'Donoghue?
I would have brought Jack. I wouldn't have brought Coombs because he's not.
Why not?
He's kind of
I would have brought Coombs.
Yeah, but look, Coombs is great 5 yards from the line, but like you need someone that's going to be solid for the whole game at number 8. And I think Jack O'Donoghue has proved himself. He hasn't done much wrong for Munster this year. He's not lit up the show, but I think he's been very solid and very consistent what he's doing. And I can't, bar Nick Timoney, I can't think of a number 8 after Conan that would be better.
I got a text, gentlemen. The same. Yeah, exactly, John. Yeah,
he's in.
The same guy I was having a pint with that asked me why are the Scottish football team singing the rugby national anthem when they started singing Flowers of Scotland.
Yeah,
I just went on. He sent me a text asking why isn't Slimon in the squad, and I just went right here. Look,
why isn't John Klein in the squad? You'll be saying next.
Which squad?
The Irish squad?
Which squad exactly?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. John Peters, did I ask you your thoughts on the picks, the squad that? Actually, my initial question was going to be, gentlemen, is that. I don't think this is the appropriate tournament to be blooding young players. That's just my thoughts on it. I don't like a test match against South Africa is not somewhere you throw in, you know, a first cap player. John,
I think on the whole it's gone along the sort of the party lines of what the squad selection was. I do agree with the guy from Ulster. What's his name? I can't pronounce his name there. So
Izuku or something.
Izuku there. I think he's got something. He's in the squad. I would have him. Obviously, Tom Ahern is out injured. Now, Tom Ahern would have probably gone had he not been injured there. I think they made a mistake not taking, possibly John Cooney, but then because Caelan Blake, sort of hasn't done it. Taking 3 scrum halves, maybe not. I'm going to trust Andy Farrell what he's doing and taking, because it's become very, very apparent at the end of the season that Jack Crowley is head and shoulders above anybody at number 10. There is no succession at all. And we spoke about this some time ago. We said that with Johnny Sexton, it was like the Johnny Wilkinson in England. Everything was about Johnny Wilkinson or Johnny Sexton. And England, like Ireland, didn't have a succession plan. They've got Jack Crowley, but they need somebody else. And Farrell, I think Andy Farrell sees Sam Prendergast as the future. He may get a bench in the first or second test. Frawley might be the number 10, but I think Farrell is seeing Frawley and Prendergast and Crowley are the number 10s for this cycle to the World Cup. The Burns are gone now, and that includes Billy Burns as well. So the Harry Ross and Billy Burns, they're not in the picture. Stockdale is a mistake. Should never have taken Stockdale.
Yes,
but
yes.
Yeah.
That's. I think everybody can agree. Stockdale is a. I think I posted it. It's like an outreach program selection. You know, it's like, you know. So we'll take the. You know, he's the last man in service. It's 31 people you pick, and you serve. Okay, we'll take him then as well. So,
But Jan, we haven't seen enough of Frawley at 10, though. I mean, I think he could be equally as good as Crawley if he was given.
I know that's what I'm saying, and I do think that's. But I say Healy shouldn't have gone. But you know, we're saying, is it Healy or Lockman? I don't know. I mean, sir. We have to trust Farrell. Farrell, I think, you know, Andy Farrell, I think in his tenure, you know, I don't think he's made many bad selections. And he is able to get the best out of these players. He is able to do something that the other provincial coaches aren't able to do. And I think, I don't think Stockdale will start. Certainly won't. You know, I think that's when it comes to the wings, it'll be James Lowe and Calvin Nash will be in the wings for the 2 tests, unless they're injured. And the centres will go along the party lines. It's just a case of who's on the periphery, who'll be on the bench. That's going to be the key to it all. We know what the starting 15 is going to be. So for me, it's just I wouldn't have had this. I say, and I go back to it, I wouldn't have taken Peter O'Malley.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, John. Thank you, gentlemen. Before I come to you, Dara, just a comment there from Louis again. Without these tours, when we see these great countries play against each other in their home countries, yes. Brum Sankey, I think summer or autumn internationals, but not both. Okay, I think we've covered that. Megan Augusta, I'm absolutely delighted.
That's when someone mentioned Nick Timoney.
Yeah.
Because someone mentioned Nick Timoney. Yeah, exactly, Megan. Yeah. Bro, great to see Osborne in the squad. Prendergast deserves the chance to. Yeah, well, he does, Brum, but I don't know if a test against the world champions is probably the best way to throw him in.
But he's not starting for Leinster, so why does he?
No, I know. Okay, Dave. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I agree. I know. I totally agree with what you're saying, Dave. I totally do. Joe Lyons, someone mute him. He's been on the drink, for fuck's sake. Are you talking about me, Joe?
Could be talking about me.
No, I don't know. Yeah, Bro, Prendergast won't start yet. No, he won't, as we've mentioned. But he needs the opportunity to play. Yes. And final one here before I ask you, Dara. Conan's absence will be massive. Yes, he will. It will. But look, anyway, we'll get on with it. Dara, go on. Waiting patiently.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I wonder, is there a bit of sentimentality? I mean, yes, Cian Healy performs a function as a backup to Porter, but realistically, we've won more season with him, and I think that's the most we get. But he is 4 appearances off Bod's record. He's on 129, I think, and Bod's on 133, 34. So, we've seen a few players get Centurions. Okay, I'd be the first to hold my hands up and say I thought Earlsey was getting a sentimental Centurion, and then he kind of rediscovered his form and he started playing brilliant again. And he was great going up to the World Cup. But yeah, again, like you said earlier, the test, it kind of seems a bit pointless. There's no midweek matches. There's 2 tests and that's it. So essentially, there's 8 days between of total rugby from the one test to the other, and that's it. So, like, if there was a midweek team, be great. Bring Sam down, blood him against one of the local teams. A selection.
So you're talking about kind of a lines setup, Dara. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think so.
That's a good point, Matt.
Yeah, look, I mean, I can't really say much more than what the lads have already said. My big thing is the whole 2 3-game thing. I think it's pointless having a 2-game tour because inevitably it just leaves that door open for a fucking draw tournament. Whereas at least if the 3 games, somebody has to win, unless like they win one each and then they draw one of the games, which is highly unlikely. Do you know what I mean? There are a few players there that I really don't know why Stockdale is there. I really don't. His performance during the season although he has improved slightly, hasn't improved enough to be in the team. I don't think he should be there. He's a liability in defence. I think the likes of Cian Healy and Peter O'Mahony are just going because, well, look, Cian Healy, he's been a stalwart for Irish rugby in the forwards, in the pack for, God, I don't know how many years, like nearly 20 years at this stage. Do you know what I mean? And he's very versatile as well. So, look, he'll only be on the bench anyway, so it's not a big deal. I think I'm glad O'Mahony's gone, because O'Mahony, he's just a fucking menace, and he's just going to wind the South Africans up, and we're going to need somebody like that. Johnny Sexton did it. You know, we need somebody, and it was apparent in the Leinster match that there was nobody there running amok in making a menace of themselves, and I'm not saying that's why Leinster lost the game, but I think having that personality on a pitch, that they're just going to be in people's faces constantly, acting the fucking maggot at rucks, fucking throwing their bodies in. We need that, especially against South Africa, because they're going to do exactly the same to us. Peter Steph du Toit is going to run amok at that fucking at every given opportunity, and we need somebody to try and fucking nail him down. So I'm glad he's going anyway. There's a few names there, like Jan has said that Cormac Isewegi or whatever his fucking name is.
Izzy, just call him Izzy.
Him go. You know what I mean? So,
is he any good?
Go on out, you. Now, just briefly before we move on, I just have the schedule here in front of me, just so we're all aware of it. The squad, they head out on the 26th of June. They have their first training session 2 days later on the 28th. They have their captain's run on the 5th. Then obviously the first test is on the 6th of July. Then 2 days later, they have a travel day on the 8th. And then their captain's run is on the 12th. And then the second test is on the 13th of July. Notably, their first test is in that bloody stadium, Versfeld.
You knew it was going to be.
Yeah, with no oxygen. The stadium I personally hate for all teams going, and not just Leinster, so shut up. It'll be the Irish squad this time going and getting their lungs starved of oxygen. Anyway, that's that. Now we move on.
Most of the players managed it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's
There's no air down the fucking Limerick either.
Yeah, there's not, no. They're well
right,
used to it.
gentlemen. Matt Boland, I'm going to come to you first. I haven't come to you first on a point yet, so here we go. The changes are being made to the TMO's responsibilities. They're being trialled in the July games. They're also being trialled in the Pacific Nations Cup and also the Under-20s Championship. Basically, what it means is that the TMO can call the referee's attention to something that's happening in real time. From reading what World Rugby have said about it, it's from the last restart to the final passage of play, as opposed to currently, it's the last 2 to 3 phases that the TMO can call the ref's attention to a particular incident, an offside, a forward pass, whatever it may be. Is this going to help the game, or is this going to slow the game down? So from the last restart, this is the change. The change is from the last restart to the final passage of play, as opposed to currently, they can go back to the last 2 or possibly 3 phases of play. But now you could have 15, 20 phases of play from the last restart to a final phase of play, if you know what I mean. Matt.
Yeah.
So what would happen then if they've narrowed that window down of the phases that the TMO is going to look at? So what happened if there was a serious collision that happened before that? Are they just going to ignore that then, or what's the story?
No, that will still come into it. I think if it's a serious head collision, I think that's a given. That will always be looked at. I don't think that'll ever change. But the way the TMO is going to their powers that they're trialing is that, as I say, it's not limited to the last 2 or 3 phases of play. that the TMO can bring the ref back to. If you remember, New Zealand, the World Cup, their try, they went back stupidly 5 or 6 phases of play. And I think it was a knock on or something from a maul. I can't quite remember, but I just remember watching it.
Surely the TMO, like if he's spotting something, he should be catching something in 2 phases of play, like behind anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like he shouldn't have to be going back 5 or 6 phases of play. Like if something happens in a match, the TMO is supposed to be watching it anyway, right? And he's supposed to be checking all the necessary passes or whatever the case may be in that phase of play. So surely he's doing that anyway. And if they're reducing it to 2, then does it really make a difference? I don't get it.
No. It's currently at the moment the TMO can call back. So it is a knock on, right? That the ref missed, and then 2 or 3 phases later, the team score a try. The TMO can call it back 2 or 3 phases to say there was a knock on at that maul. Try disallowed. Have a look at this, right? Whereas now, if there's a dropout or a 22 drop start, the restart of play to the final phase of play. So there could be 20 or 15, 20 phases of play that the TMO can go back on and say, at the goal line dropout, when your man caught it, he collided with his own player and knocked the ball on, which was completely missed. And then they go 10, 12, 15 phases and they might score a try. That's the change, as I understand it.
Okay. Well, for me, it doesn't really make much sense anyway, because the TMO has a job to be checking everything anyway. So I don't really get it, what they're trying to do or what they're trying to achieve.
I don't know either.
It's not really going to make much difference to the game, I don't think. I really don't.
It's the only way I could see it succeeding if it's got 3 TMOs. You have to have more than 1 TMO. You're almost going down the VAR route. You need to have a room where there's 3 or 4 people and a supervisor, and they're just looking at screens all the time to pick it. Because one person is not going to be able to pick that up because there'll be too many breaks in play. You need at least 3 or 4 TMOs watching the game constantly.
Yeah, and is that the plan then, that they're going to do that then? No, they didn't say.
They didn't say. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's a load of rubbish. I think, as Jan has said, like they're going to need more TMOs then to be looking at everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I still don't get it.
Okay. Okay. Right. Darrell Weston, do you understand this new TMO trial?
No. Like Jan said there, I mean, how is one TMO going to do all this? You're rewinding to get another angle on a hit while there's something else still going on. You're looking at something 18 phases ago, maybe, while there's still action going. So you're going to need more than one person there. You're going to need 2 TMOs at least, one watching the game and one going back to a previous incident or whatever. I don't know. I think it's just it's up there. It's just a gimmick. I think like the 20-minute red card, the orange card. It's just them. They're just trying stuff for shits and giggles at this stage.
very good.
Do
you think
Bill Beaumont's just pulling ideas out of his arse?
I was just going to say, do you think Bill Beaumont has lost the plot?
Oh, he lost it ages ago. Fucking lost. He was shiting questions of sport. He hardly ever won.
Yeah. Okay. Dave Sheedy, any thoughts on this? The new TMO things are.
I'm up to here now with all these rule changes. It's every 3 months, 6 months. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, I mean, like as most of us know, being at the game and watching it on TV are completely different. Like, I mean, when I go to Thomond Park, I see things that I'll never see on TV. And there's plenty of times you get home, you'd watch the replay of the match, and then you'd hear, from like Heaslip or something, yeah, that looked like a forward pass, and then it was right in front of me. It was flat, it's like you're turning sport into robotics by going back that much. It should be like 2 or 3 phases, because we all love the dark arts as well, the little things you can get away with and stuff like that. You take that out of the game, it's just going to be robotic, man. Fair enough, we all go nuts when it's against us, like, oh, it's a knock on, blah, blah, blah. And it's play the whistle, lads, play the whistle. That's rugby. Like, the people, like, Will this be turned into a case where the TMO is going to be butting in every fucking 10 phases going, oh, yeah, you have to look at this, you have to look at this. And then who's the boss? Like, is it the ref on the field? Is it the TMO? Because I saw someone say, and I agree with them, if you're going to be giving the TMO that much power, you might as well get rid of the 3 officials on the field and use the drone. Yeah. Because the TMO can't see what's going on in the rucks. The ref is right there. Fair enough, half the time they make the wrong call, but they're right there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw. Sorry, John. I'll let you. I don't know if you saw, but we had 2 weeks ago, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, a woman on, Sabina Moylan, and she is or was a referee, and she simply said that from an officiating point of view herself, she's a referee. She said that the TMO is wrecking the game.
Yeah.
It's really wrecking the game.
They should be only able to adjudicate on like tries scored or foul play. Not really anything more than that. You know, if the ref misses a forward pass or a knock on, tough shit.
Or serious head contact.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, foul play. There should be foul play, tries, stuff like that. And that's it, like.
Yeah. Okay. John, were you going to come in there with a point?
I was, because I think I'd say go back to my point to be more there. But you also need as well, sir, is that the TV, because how many times, even though you have TMO, that there have been dodgy decisions on a field, and for some reason the camera doesn't show you what happens. The French are very good at it. The Sappers are good at it. We're not going to cry. Look, they didn't. What happened on Gibson Park last week? If he went off for HIA, why was that not investigated? How many times have we seen it in French that the French producer, sorry, the tape got lost. So it's, if you're going to do it, you have to make sure it's very independent. So I agree, it'll wreck the game. We 10 years ago, a referee and line judges were able to do it. But I think that regrettably as well, we live in such a litigious world that the slightest sign of an injury that referees, you go back maybe 15 years and maybe 20 years, or when we were all at school playing rugby, and he got hurt in a scrum or something like that, or some tragedy happened. So if it was, it's unfortunate, it's tragic, it's part of the sport. Now, now you have it there. You're leaving yourself open there, and so you can get a case there, sort of that people are going to be sort of going to go after referees. Will say you didn't look after my welfare correctly, or TMO. So. It's the way the world is, unfortunately. It's miserable because it stops the game too often.
Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, a few comments here. Sorry, I'm just going back to Joe Lyons. Sorry, I moved on from Joe's comment there. Joe was saying, forget Frawley playing as an out-and-out 10. He's going to be used as a utility player going forward as he covers 15, 12, 13, and 10. Joe... for me, Frawley is not a 15. He's not a 13. If anything, he is a good 10 and he can cover 12. Just my opinion now. And in the modern game, the bench make up that gives us the options. Sad on the player, but that's the reality. Louis, our South African friend, unpopular opinion, too much emphasis being put on the number 10. Many great teams had great success with an average 10. Okay. Who does Libok play
South
for?
Africa?
No. Who does Stormers? Yeah, they're all right. Yeah. Noel Burke. O'Mahony lifts the game. Hi, Noel. O'Mahony lifts the game of all around him, much as Johnny Sexton did. Yeah, that's fair enough point, Noel. Yeah. He's looked up to and brings the dog to the team. Matt, I think you were alluding to that. He had to travel. Louis, again, when the game is called back, will the 5 minute that has been used this play be put back on the clock? I'd say it will be, yeah. Joe Lyons, for fuck's sake, it's like they are looking to make up laws and change it for them for the sake of it. Yes, Joe, I totally agree with you. Megan Augusta, sure, they can barely manage the new laws they already brought in, let alone all of this now. Yes, very true, Megan, very true. By the way, Megan, where's your pal Gregor? I don't see him on. He must be otherwise engaged. Right, gentlemen, we're fast approaching the hour mark. Let's just talk about the two games that happened. Dara West, I'll come to you first. As the games happened, Bulls 25, Leinster 20. Where did that go wrong for Leinster, obviously?
It's still a bit too raw to talk about, I think.
Are you all right? Do you want a hug?
Okay, it's not from you, I don't know. Mike warned me about you dropping the hand. Oh, look, I don't know. It's the great debate. Have we become too defensive now? Have we lost our attacking ability? I mean, the amount of time we spent up in their half, it's yeah. To be honest, I can't pick any one part where it went wrong. Well, if Byrne had gotten that kick, it would have been a tighter game. But apart from that, it's look, maybe they flew in and out the same day, so there was no acclimatization or anything like that. But then there was only a week to build up to the game, so there wasn't time to acclimatize properly anyway at altitude. So I think it was.
I was going to say, as Dave Sheedy mentioned, Munster did it.
Mm-hmm.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every so often.
Yeah. Here we
go.
Right,
John Peters, your assessment of that game.
For me, we lost it. We lost it because we didn't have an out half that was potent enough in attack. And Ross Byrne, I think Ross has been a great servant to Leinster rugby, but he's gone backwards since he had that injury. He's not the same player. And I think, to what Dave said, we got too defensive, but I think there was one moment which stood out for me where it's kind of said, yeah, this is going fucking Pete Tong on us here, was when we were going through those phases, we had a ruck, and Luke McGrath had come on the field. And Luke McGrath was only on about 5 minutes and puffing and panting to get to the breakdown to get the ball quick away there, sir. That for me those were the two items. I think for the rest, Leinster played well, but defensively we were pretty good. But our attacking game has gone backwards, and we're not going to come on about and say sort of throwing people out, throwing people under the bus. It is what it is. There'll have to be a review, but I think for me, those Ross Byrne at 10 doesn't help Leinster at this moment in time, and McGrath, when he came on, offered absolutely nothing as a replacement scrum half.
All right, okay. Dave Sheedy, I know you didn't see the game, but when you saw the result, were you kind of going, well, geez,
happy?
I didn't fucking expect that.
Happy?
From a rugby point of view, when you saw the result, were you saying to yourself, how the hell did Leinster actually lose that with the amount of Irish? I think the starting 15, all of them were capped for Ireland. Were you saying to yourself, how the hell did they lose that?
Yeah, but this idea when it comes to club that they have all these international caps, I don't really think that kind of makes a difference. It's it's team versus team at that stage. I mean, Munster have beaten Australia and South Africa and stuff. It was everyone there. I wouldn't really look at the international caps, but the caliber of player that Leinster have, and the fact that we went down there and did a job, I was like, well, if we can beat them, Leinster will hammer them. Surely.
I don't take that. I don't agree with that. I think we're not giving the Bulls enough credit for the team that they are. Don't forget, this is a team that played that in Super Rugby at their peak of their powers, was the only team that could stand up to the likes of the Canterbury Crusaders. And Bromley.
How many finals did they make? 3?
Sorry?
How many finals did they get in Super Rugby? 3? I don't think they're as good as people are making them out to be.
No, I think you're being a bit. I mean, I'm not a South African fan by no stretch of imagination, but I think we're not giving the Bulls enough credit. They came with a game plan and they executed. They had a pack there. That back row demolished Leinster's back row just by their sheer intensity. And I would say, and I'm not saying that, Munster did a job and good luck to Munster. They beat the Bulls, that sort of thing. But I watched that game, Munster against the Bulls, and the intensity the Bulls showed that day against the Munster, maybe they weren't able to do it, whatever reason, they did. They were much, much more intense against Leinster. I think we're not giving the Bulls as much credit as they deserve.
I'd agree with you, Jan, that I think Jake White is a fantastic coach, and I do. And he obviously got the team up because I saw snippets of it on Against the Head. But it's just on paper, if we're talking on paper, Leinster should beat them and beat them well. you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jake White is a fantastic coach, but it's just the backlash after this now, I think is shocking. Like, I mean, I think if Ross Byrne was actually going on the Irish tour, do his confidence the world of good, because I don't think he's as bad as everyone thinks he is. But this business of calling for Leo's head because they lost the European and they're out in the semi-final.
We won't have time to go into that tonight,
Yeah.
now, David.
Yeah.
It's just, we're over the hour mark. No, but go on, finish your point. Go on.
No, I just think a combination of all this, just is there maybe too much expectation, and the fact that Ian Barr might have taken him backwards, which all you've said, and I agree, but I was really shocked because I was like gunning for Leinster to win that one. I really was.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dara. Matt, your thoughts on the game?
Oh, look, I mean, I think Bulls had their homework done. They really did, and you know the pack destroyed the Leinster pack. They're whether they're a better team, I don't think so. I really don't think they are a better team than Leinster. I just think they prepped well. They had a better game plan. I think they knew where they needed to put the focus into the game, and they just implemented them key factors better than Leinster did, and it's what got them over the line. It was a good game to watch. It wasn't necessarily pretty in all aspects, but they did what they had to do to win the game, and Leinster didn't. You know, should Leinster have won? Yeah. Could they have won? Yeah, absolutely. You know, but I just think the game plan wasn't there for Leinster. They weren't clinical enough. You know, they didn't have a better game plan. I kind of this fucking Jack Nian Aber defensive thing. I don't know. People had said like, oh, he needs 14 games or whatever the fuck it is. I think we've taken a step backwards.
He's had them, Matt. He's had
that's what I mean. Like it should be in effect now. We should be seeing the fruits of his labour now, right now as Leinster are playing. But I think Leinster have gone backwards since he's got there. That's just my opinion. You know,
he's had 14 games, but he hasn't had the internationals for 14 games.
True. Okay,
Lancaster didn't have it, and he tore shit up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, folks. We are well over the hour mark, and we've still got one game to go to talk about. Just a few comments. Peter Martin, aka Pistol Pete. If the Leinster way is to go back to an attractive attack from anywhere we have to ditch the need of our defense system, which is very narrow in emphasis. Yes, totally agree, Pete. Mike Sheedy, both games last weekend, the refs, linesman, TMO did not help out. Also, some of the players did not do their jobs too. Yeah, okay. Peter Martin again, the attack has to pick up from defense where there's turnovers. There cannot be opposite styles in defense and attack. They has to be complemented. Yeah, good point, Pete. As always. Any Irish visitors coming to South Africa in the next month, call me up for a good beer or 6. Would love to show you that Safa's okay. Thank you, Louis. Louis also says, and we'll finish on that comment, he will be at both tests. Okay, very good. Okay, seeing as Dave Sheedy, you are the only Munster man here, I'm going to come to you first. Munster at home to Thomond. Losing that, Munster 10, Glasgow 17. That was a result I did not expect.
Nor me. Glasgow definitely wanted it more. Munster didn't come out of the blocks. The attack play just reminded me of when we played against Cardiff. It was like one-out runners. And I remember before Christmas watching this style of play that Mike Prendergast was doing, and I was questioning it because it seemed to be like a one-out runner in, ruck, out, and it was very one-dimensional. There's in the back line there never seems to be any skip passes, or the only thing they do is they do a long pass out to the wing, and then but when you do that skip pass, it gives the defenders more time to get out to defend, and it's just it just seemed like that Cardiff game all over again, and then the Northampton game which followed it. And I was thinking, but like, I mean, like they played so well in South Africa, and every other game coming into that, and the Ospreys, they did a good job in the Ospreys. It was like, where the hell did this performance come from? But you have to give Glasgow credit; they really went for that breakdown, man. They absolutely disrupted the breakdown. Munster were too late to the breakdown half the time. The amount, I think Glasgow must have got more turnovers in that game against Munster than any team this year, because they were turning over ball left, right, and centre. Now, fair enough, Tyke Byrne was doing his thing as well. And then, like, Frisch, I saw Frisch several times seem to be opening his inside shoulder to let them run in, hoping Nankerville would make the tackle, instead of going and making the tackle himself and stopping at the gain line. The Leamy defence seems to push up, kind of stop, and then drift. Whereas the Leinster defence is obviously hard up, doesn't give you time on the ball. The Munster defence kind of pushes up, stops, and then lets them see what to do. But Glasgow had their number in attack. They were, I mean, that was it the second try they had or the first try? They absolutely cut us open, man. It's just, it was unbelievable. Like, and it's really annoying me when you think of, like, fair enough, we're in the here and now, but every Munster supporter is going to look back at what came before. And it's just, it seems that this group of players think it's acceptable to lose these games at home, whereas before it wouldn't be acceptable. It wouldn't happen. They'd find a way. And the main point I think I want to make on both things is there's a lack of, because these are all academy players, I think I've said this before, coming through, there's a lack of a domestic cup competition that is teaching these players the real grit, the real dog to kind of really push out a victory, whereas every other country has a domestic cup competition. I don't think we have anymore in the AIL, do we?
I
don't think so. And these academy players, what kind of cup competition are they being exposed to, where you dog out a win, like the schools cup? Because after schools cup, there's not really anything. So
wasn't that years ago? And I don't know why they stopped it. The kind of a Wolfhounds thing, wasn't it? No,
the Wolfhounds not the A team. They were just called the Wolfhounds.
But it was to get new up and coming players, really kind of like the under-20s type thing. To get them into cup rugby. But like, it seems to be a problem in Irish rugby now that we can't get over the line. Like, we couldn't do it against New Zealand. Leinster couldn't do it twice now in the Heineken Cup, and then Munster failed to do it at home. At home, three times, but at home. The first time they lost, I thought La Rochelle were better, so I wouldn't worry about that. But the last two, Leinster were definitely should have. But it's just the dog in Irish rugby seems to be gone since we've moved away from the AIL game and focused more on the provinces and the thing. And it's with Munster, it seemed apparent because, like, there was 10 minutes left on the clock, or 7 minutes, sorry, Glasgow got the try, and it's like, right, they're going to go back up and do it. And it just never came. And then Crawley had an off day as well. I kind of felt he had an off day. He's kicking the touch, kicking into the space. He was caught left, right, and centre. I feel your frustration, Dave. But
after what they did in South Africa, you'd expect it to kick on, and then they went back into their shell.
But that's what's supporting your team. Frustration and annoyance and elation and sadness sometimes. Anyway, there you go. John Peters, that game, Munster against Glasgow. What do you think of it?
So I suppose just like the Bulls did the prep work, Glasgow did the prep work. They're a nuisance side. They get up the skin, and they were the better team of the day, and Munster didn't come out of the blocks. Simple as that. Nothing else. And good luck to Glasgow. I say, so if they are like the Scottish national team, they can be a nuisance team to play against. They get under your skin. And even with the dog, if we go back years ago when we had the dog in the team there, Scotland managed to get under the skin of Irish teams. So I think Franco Smith, he's done a very good job with Glasgow. They prepped well, they attacked Munster very well, and they got the result. Simple as that. You can't take it away from them.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, John. Jarrah Weston, Munster losing to Glasgow.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was unlucky. I was watching the pre-match build-up, and they were talking for about 15 minutes, Premier Sports were going on about how Glasgow were Munster's bogey team. And I thought, geez, they're scraping the barrel to hike this now. But then, they have been a team that have upset Munster on several occasions. So, look, it was it wasn't the most entertaining of matches, but they learned from it and hopefully go on next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not further north, but hopefully go on.
Well, there you go. Matt, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, again, it's the same thing. You've got to give credit where credit is due. Glasgow turned up on the day and had a better game plan and won the game. Like, there's nothing really to it. I don't think there wasn't really bad performances on the Munster side. There wasn't any players that massively didn't perform well. It's just Glasgow were more hungry, wanted to win it more, and they got over the line.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen, we've finished on these last two comments. Joe Lyons, maybe it was the big poster advertising for the final that rubbed Glasgow up the wrong way. Yeah, that's true. I actually thought that was fake initially when I saw it.
Where was that? I didn't see that.
It wasn't a poster. It was on the big screen, wasn't it?
It's on the big screen. Apparently,
Are you serious?
It was an admin intern error type thing.
Oh, good.
Joe Lyons is arguably good for the RC that both Irish teams didn't make the final, and a Scottish team has made the final. All right, Joe. Yeah. Financially, I wouldn't say so, though, Joe. Anyway, gentlemen, we're way over the hour mark per usual. All that's left for me is to thank everyone who has tuned in, offered an opinion, made a comment. Thank you as always. The contributors Matt Boland, Dave Sheedy, John Peters, and of course Dara Weston. Gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much, and of course we will all chat again soon. Thank you, gentlemen. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you guys.
All right, lads.
God bless.
Bye.